What's up, everybody? Welcome back to my YouTube. Today we're going to talk about motivation, stay consistent, and how to keep the negativity out of your head so you can actually do your first wholesale deal instead of going down the rabbit hole of negativity. Stay tuned. Let's get into it. So today I asked a question on my Facebook, what should my topic be for a wholesale video on YouTube? And most of them the same questions, answers always get, and I've got videos on those, but this one stuck out specifically towards me, and I thought, people can probably relate to it. Probably 90% of my following is how do you stay out of your own head, stay consistent till you get your first wholesale deal? Because a lot of people get discouraged, they quit, they give up, and what's that going to do with you? You're just going to stay at your job and stay in the circle of life that's like death, of living check to check, making someone else rich, and you just keep repeating that until you're get Social Security or whatever it is at 65, 62, 70, God knows how long it is, how old you have to be before you get it. But regardless, that was the question the answer that I seen, that I'm like, you know what? I bet you this happens to a lot of people who's watching my content, who hasn't done their first deal. Maybe they've been at it for a month or 2 months or 3 months, and they just feel like giving up. So I'm going to give you some words of encouragement, some advice, and hopefully we can turn that frown upside down and you can gain new perspective on, staying consistent, staying out of your own head. So my first advice is, do not treat this as a hobby. The biggest thing a lot of people do when they fail at wholesaling is, well, I can't get leads, I've cold called some. Have you been consistent? Have you treated this as a business? Or have you treated it as like a little side hustle hobby, like, hey, if it happens, great. I'm going to make 20 grand with little effort. So, and when it doesn't happen, who do you have to blame? Have you really put in the effort? Have you been consistent with it? A lot of times we're not honest with ourselves. We can say, hey, you're right, I haven't been as consistent as I should have. There's times I just didn't feel like doing it. I'm like, I'll just mess with it tomorrow. So therefore, you put off. And then I post these checks, these wires of other people doing deals for my free content. And then it just pisses you off. Let's be honest. Someone else managed to make it happen. You've been doing it longer than they have. You haven't done a deal. So it just pisses you off. And that's totally fine. It's human nature. You're allowed to be pissed off. But you should be pissed off at yourself, because a lot of the times we put blame on others when we are the ones who didn't implement. We are the ones who are not disciplined. So instead of looking at someone else and pointing a finger at this person or that person or whatever the reason is, it really comes down to you didn't execute. I'm not trying to be mean. I'm not trying to piss people off. But if I piss you off, it's because I'm probably right. And that's okay. Like I said, there's times when I first started, I didn't treat this as a business. I did my first deal in 26 days, made that 20 grand double close after I paid my closing costs. It was like, the $19,653. I did another deal a month later, but I wasn't as focused. Like, that deal came to me off Craigslist ad, but I wasn't searching for deals because I made all that money. I'm like, dude, this is great. So I kind of just coasted. Yes, I got another deal. That don't happen to a lot of people. I did make my little Craigslist post and, I got a deal, but if I would have tried as hard as I did on that first deal, because I got my first deal under contract 3 days into wholesaling. I found it on Facebook Marketplace. If I would have had that same drive I did when I rage quit, because I knew I had to make it work, I probably would have done 2 or 3 deals that first month instead of just one a month later. But I coasted, and I look back, and I did that for the first probably year of wholesaling. I was just coasting. I did a deal, 2 deals a month, but it wasn't for me trying. They would just come based on my marketing methods and me doing a little bit of, looking here and there, but I wasn't hard bent on making a lot of money. I made way more than what I ever made with turning wrenches, so I was content with it. So I'm like, dude, I'm doing way better, working less hours, enjoying life, and I'm like, this is great. Now here I am coming up on my 4th year in October, end of September, And I'm like, man, that first year I could have probably put way more effort in and did. I probably could have got to 5 to 10 deals a month in my first year consistently, but I didn't. I didn't get 5 to 10 deals until what, almost 20. I was in 2020 before I started into 5 to 10 deals. So I mean, that was 2 years in. I mean, it was a year and a half ish in. So I wasted just because I was coasting. I'm like you guys, human nature. I make way more than what I ever made, working less, and I was enjoying it. But I look back, and now I see a lot of people in my comments like, well, I've been at this 6 months, I haven't done a deal. I've been at this a year, didn't do a deal. So they think it's a scam. They think it's too good to be true. They think we're hiding some secret sauce that we're not telling everybody about. And the ones who post that they did deals are like, oh, that's just someone he's paid or he's helped. And, he don't really truly give everything out there that you can do a deal from. We start getting in that whole conspiracy like Area 51 and Bigfoot and, all that, which I'm not saying now that's not true. But, you get what I'm getting at. Like, we start thinking there's this whole other, like, secret group of me and these followers that I'm helping. And it's really not. It's more of, the markets are different. Everybody's city's different. Everybody's marketing method's different. Everybody's consistent level's different. Their motivation levels are different. It's just everybody has a different set of skills as well. So there's a lot of variables of what makes a person successful when they first start out and what takes a person 6 months to do their first deal. I mean, the thing is cold calling can be discouraging. But you always have to think of it as this. The next call may be a $50,000 assignment fee. And that's how you have to look at it. Man, I went through, 500 calls there, 500 texts. I didn't get crap. Cool. Well, tomorrow you may get one. You may get 3. Tomorrow may be $100,000 a day in assignment fees. You never know. And that's the mindset you have to keep in this type of industry is tomorrow you could make 6 figures. You can make 20 grand. You don't know. And it's awesome. It's like the lottery, except your effort has a way better chance to hitting the lottery. Here you control if you're going to make money or not by picking up the pace. It's no different than like with social media, people who, want to go viral and get vids. Yeah, you don't know how to go viral, but you're not going to go viral if you only post 1 video a week. It's the consistency of posting videos, because you know that any minute one of these could pop off and boom, there you are. It spreads like a wildfire. I know, because I have multiples that spread like wildfires up in the millions. But I never know which one. The ones I think are going to do good, no. The ones that I think suck are the ones that just take off. So, but I never give up. I don't just say screw this, I give up. When I first started posting content, I didn't come out the door running with a bunch of views. I was consistent with it because I wanted to help people. And I was like, I'm just going to keep posting. Eventually one of these will pop off like it does for everybody else. And I'm going to be able to spread like wildfire and show the people of the world that 9 to 5 is not the only life you have to have, or college, to make a living. There's other ways to make a living without spending money, without having a degree, without having credit. So I stayed consistent. Hence why I hit 1 million followers in 6 months and 2 days. Consistency is what did it. And maybe because I don't look like nobody else on TikTok in the real estate field. How many else look like me? Nobody. And I love that. I'm true to myself. And if I fail at something, I blame myself. Anything that happens to me, I'm like, lesson learned. I should have did this different. If you get screwed in the world, you blame the other person, yeah, and you also blame yourself because you're like, okay, should have seen that coming, should have expected that. Next time it won't happen. But I also believe what goes around comes around. You put out bad, it's coming back at you. You put out good, it's coming back at you. I mean, every time I'm out, I either leave big tips at restaurants. I've even filled up people's cars because I see them and they're sitting there, they look like they're struggling. They're going to put in $10 or $5 in gas. I'm like, hey, you care if I fill your tank up? And I'll shove my card in and pull it out. I just did this a month ago down in Dunlap, Tennessee. Older couple, out-of-state tags. You could tell looked like they lived in their little Explorer, honestly. Crane full of people. They was actually here visiting family with their grandkids. And they had $20 to try to get back clear to, I don't know where they was even going, Pennsylvania or somewhere. And I'm like, oh, wow, you ain't going to make it there on $20. So I filled their Explorer up. He's like, I've never even filled this up before. I don't know how much. I think it held $106. I didn't hesitate because it was a good deed. You know, what's funny is when I did that, it was the next day I made money off of something I did, and it came back to me more than $106 worth. So that's how I see the world. You give out good, it comes back good. That's the whole purpose of me giving out these videos, is to motivate you guys. I want to give good out because I know the world's going to take care of me and give me good back. I mean, that's just how it works. It's how I see it. If I put out good, it's going to come back tenfold. So mindset is something that it can't be taught. I mean, I can sit here and preach to you till I'm blue in the face, or blue is my background. But end of the day, you have to own up to your own self. You can read books, you can listen to podcasts, you can do all that. And when I first got into the entrepreneur side, I did the whole thing. I read books, I listened to podcasts. I follow the big entrepreneur people, Gary Vee, Grant Cardone, because I was like, yeah, get in that whole mentality. And then I learned real quick, like, that don't affect me. That stuff, I'm trying to hype myself up, but it's just not me. I want to be true to Paul. I'm not like a Gary Vee. I'm not a Grant Cardone. I'm not a David Goggins. The man I see most inspirational to me is probably a David Goggins. Why? Well, one, he was 300 pounds, lost all of his weight. He knew it was a mindset thing. He don't sugarcoat nothing. Don't sit there and have people say, oh, you're not fat, you're just a big dude, big bone. Nah, you may be fat. And I love that because I know I'm overweight. I know that, when I go get blood work done, I'm healthy. It comes back. But I also know, like, well, yeah, I'm healthy on blood work and everything checks back. But if I lost weight, it wouldn't kill me. It's going to help me. And I'm cool with that. I also own the fact that it's my fault that I don't go and just hardcore and lose all this weight. Little story time for everybody who wants to hear some motivation. Back when I was 28 years old, I lost 75 pounds in 90 days. So I had the motivation to do it. I did it. I shrunk down all the way down to 260 pounds. Happy, healthy, living life, whatever, whatnot. And I did it because I wanted to do it for myself. And that was it. And it wasn't because of no one. It was, I wanted to do this. And I did it. And that was it. So I control my motivation. I know that if I want to lose weight, I'm the one that has to do it. I can hire a coach, and I did that. Last year I paid for a personal trainer off TikTok. Dude was great. His name was Ziegler Monsters. Really good professional bodybuilder. Paid him 6 months private training. Gave me custom workouts, custom diet plans. I mean, you name it. He did it down to the T. Time I woke up to the time I go to bed. And you know what happened? I failed. Was it his fault I failed? That was my fault because I didn't implement shit after the first week. First week, I was like, yeah. And then I just kind of fell off the wayside. I'm like, you know what? I'll pick back up next week. And then I said that next week. And then I said that next week. And then before you know it, 6 months flew by. I wasted my $1,000. That's all he charged was $1,000 for 6 months of personal training. And I'm like, damn, I failed at that. I even invested $1,000 into it. Still failed. Should I be pissed off at him for it? Nah, I'm not. I wasn't mad 'cause I'm like, dude, you did everything on your part. Should I have texted you more and said, man, I'm struggling mentally, I just don't feel like it? Probably should have. And here's a life lesson for everybody. I didn't reach out to my coach because I didn't want to bug him. I'm just like, it's cool, I can get over this. I got a strong mindset. And I didn't bug him. I probably should have, because if I would have that day, he probably would have gave me some motivational words that would have got me out of my funk, got my ass into the gym, and stayed on my diet. Chose not to. Simple. It's no different if you buy a coach for anything else in the world. You get out of it what you put into it. If you don't ask for help, they're not going to know you need help. I didn't expect this man to text me every morning, ask how I was doing. I didn't expect it. We're both grown men. We're both adults. You can contact him 24/7. That was the policy, and I chose not to use it. So at the end of the day, I didn't implement all the benefits of my coaching, and I was cool with that, accepting the fact. I have a busy life. I do have 6 kids, a pregnant wife, stuff's going on every day, wholesaling, try to put out content. I have a busy life. My weight, my dieting, it don't bother me so much. Am I looking at it now? Yeah. I'm trying to set my mindset to get to focus on that again. At the end of this year, I'm trying to transition back into the healthy mindset and steer away from other stuff in my life. But this last year has been a very stressful year. A lot's been going on behind closed doors that true followers who's been following me for a while knows what's up. Others don't. And I deal with the stuff that no one knows about behind closed doors, and because it's stressful, and I'm a stress eater. I mean, that's what I've always been. I like Mountain Dew, I like Reese cups. So, end of the day, I eat a lot of them, and it's a comfort food. And here I am. I'm admitting to all of you all my flaws, because I'm human, and I every day I wake up like today's gonna be the day, and I fail at it because I choose to. So it's no different with wholesaling. You can struggle and your first deal may not come, but you got to wake up and say, you know what? If I don't try, I'm never going to be able to get away from this 9 to 5. Do I continue want to making someone else rich and stop just taking time away from my family? At what point do you put your foot down with that and say, you know what? I can do this. I know that in my bones, I know I can do this. In my soul, I can wholesale and make this work. I always had that feeling in my heart and soul that I could be a millionaire. I knew I was smart enough and I could do it. I just didn't know how I was going to be able to do it. So I just knew it was going to happen. I'm hoping that based off everything I've told you in this video, and sorry I got away from wholesaling and motivation and stuff, but I just want to give you other experience of where I failed on motivation, where I've spent money on coaches, and the only person was to blame today was me. So I hope this helps you all. You got to wake up every day thinking the next call, the next text, it's going to be a deal. I'm going to make 5, 10 grand. I mean, making 5 grand on wholesale deal is not that hard. It's really not. Even if you say, hey, I'm going to make it 3 grand. Okay, it's really not that hard. Even if you want to say whatever you make in a month, say it's before taxes or after, I'm going to make that on a wholesale deal. What is that? 3, 5 grand? 2 grand? 6 grand? That's not that hard to do to find a spread that small. So even if you have to break it down to baby sets, your first deal don't have to be $10,000, $20,000, $30,000. But doing the first step and making a deal is more important than not doing nothing at all. So if anything you take away from this video is your mind should be fresh every day. Wake up and say, hey, yesterday, who cares what happened yesterday? Today's a new day. I'm going to find a deal. Word of mouth is a big thing with wholesaling. All your friends, your family say, hey, you know anybody looking to sell their house for cash? You know, something needs some work that they just can't fix up. They don't have the money, but they need to sell it. They need to cash out. They need to get some cash. Please refer them to me. And, if I end up working out a deal with them, say, hey, I'll give you $500 if we close on it. That means if we go to closing and they say, hey, I got paid my money, thank you so much, you're going to get $500 from me. Simple stuff like that, word of mouth, can get you wholesale deals. So I appreciate you all who listened to me ramble on about this video. Sorry it wasn't so much wholesaling oriented and I kind of got into all the other shit. But that's me being raw, real, and honest. Probably the only guy on YouTube that's in the real estate field that's going to be as blunt as me. So I appreciate y'all so much. Please like this video, share it, subscribe, have others subscribe, all that good shit. So, and I will see you all in the next video.